What's up, guys and gals, vapors and vapettes, and the entire YouTube universe? Vaping Vigilante coming at you this morning, and this morning I want to bring you something quite interesting, and what it is the Goliath Rda by Vicious Ant. I got this a week or so ago, actually probably a week and a half ago, and I got it from Vape Affliction. Shout out to Vape Affliction. And I have to say that this RDA is quite interesting in a lot of respects. One, it's huge. As you can see, it is a 30 millimeter Addy. Okay, it's got a quite unique design on it. As you can see from there, you got your big VA for Vicious Ant. You have a removable cap here. This is actually a drip tip that was made for the Goliath Rda. It also comes with an adapter that allows you to put a regular 510 drip tip in it if you so wish. Now, the deck on this thing is quite interesting. If you can see there, if the camera will focus, there you go. Now, I am running 8 coils on this, 8 vertical coils. As you can see, there's 2 rings here. Okay, you've got an upper ring and a lower ring. Now, your upper ring is your positive, your lower ring is your negative. And that's how you build your coils around this. Like I said, I've got 8 of them, and quite pissed off. I'm running it on a Sigeli 150 watt box at 150 watts. And let's get some vapor, shall we? It's a lot of vapor for 8 coils, but that's what you'd expect from 8 coils. Yeah, she likes to put out. Airflow is pretty damn good on this. What you have all the way around is you have 8 airflow slots that essentially line up with each bay of coils that you have. Now, these are, I believe, 1.4 by 4 millimeter air holes, and there's, like I said, there's 8 of them all the way around. Airflow is nice, even at 150 watts, and this Addy came out to be a 0.12 ohms. My buddy Brant up at Juicy Vapes built this for me, and it came out quite nice. The vape, even at 150 watts, even at 0.12 ohms, it's not really a hot vape, at least for me. Now, there's some out there that will probably consider it to be a hot vape. Now, this is 150 watts, but it's coming out to 4.4 volts is what the Sigeli is saying. And the Sigeli's only reading it at 0.1 ohm, of course. It doesn't get into the 1.2 there, but the vape is nice. It's a nice vaping atomizer. We'll look at it a little bit up close. I'm not going to tear it apart because it is quite tricky to build on. You have to get your coils just the right size. They have to kind of fit in a bay of sorts for each group of coils. When I did my first look video on this, I had a quad coil build on it because that was the simplest to throw on there right away. But there's many different configurations that you could put your coils. The one that seemed to make the most sense is doing 8 vertical coils all the way around, which Brent did for me. And like I said, it vapes quite nice. Let's do this again. Yeah, she puts out some vapor. Like I said, airflow is nice. It's nice swooshy. It's not loud or anything like that. The only issue that I'll talk about here a little bit later, I'll bring that up. But right quick, let's go ahead and dive down a little bit and give this a little closer look, okay? All right, now we're down up close to give this a little bit more up close attention. As you can see there, the aesthetics are quite nice of this. I kind of like the styling quite a bit on this atomizer. Vicious Ant always does a great presentation with their equipment. They're always bold styling and things like that. And I'm looking forward to seeing if I can get my hand on that new Evolution that's coming out. that looks quite interesting with the tube mod, variable voltage or variable wattage mod, or a box mod all in one. So there's your top cap, of course. And as I said, that this drip tip that comes on there is made specifically for the Goliath, and I think it's made for the same, made from Vicious Ant as well. When you take that off, you can see down in there, and as you can see, you've got that center area right there is actually very good for distributing your juice to each of the coil bays, is kind of what I'm calling it. You can drip right there, you drip on that, and it will distribute the juice out evenly to each group of cotton. So now we pull the top cap off, and let's go ahead and, oh dang, let's go ahead and look at the deck for a second, shall we? As you can see there, it's a quite interesting design. You have the top row, your positives, you have the bottom row, your negatives, okay? And as you can see, we got 8 coils in there. Got a piece of cotton running down, looping over both coils, okay? And actually, you see this little, let's see if I can get up close there and if this will focus. See that little nipple, or whatever you want to call it? It's kind of an alignment dowel. That actually aligns with the hole in the top cap, okay? Let me go ahead and screw this off right quick. Trying to keep this centered on camera, okay? And get my rag and get some of this juice off the bottom. Okay, get it off the top of the Sigelli. And there you go. See right there, you got Goliath Vicious Ant, okay? This is the brass edition right here. And that's actually, it's brass just because it's that right there is brass. The Addy is 304 stainless steel, but as you can see, Goliath brass Vicious Ant number 198. Okay, and then we take that off, and then let's try to get an up close. There we go. See there? Now, it comes with 2 different size screws. Now, these screws that are in here now are meant for smaller diameter wire. Or actually, these screws are meant for larger diameter wire. It comes with some longer screws that are meant for smaller diameter wire. But you have to make sure that those, you have to choose the screws correctly in order to go in far enough so that they will clear the top cap. And there's that little center that I was telling you about that you can drip right onto, and it distributes your juice out to each of the coil bays there. See how they're notched out under each one of them? Yeah, it'll flow right into each bank. I'm calling it like each one of these a bank for coils, okay? A coil bank of sorts. Now, as you can see, each one of these coils is just connected to its appropriate tower or terminals, okay? Positive, negative, and all that, all the way around, okay? So now let's look a little bit more at the top cap. Here's your top cap. I said 304 stainless steel. Down the center there where your drip tip clicks in nicely. It stays in there pretty firm. It's got some O-ring. It's got an O-ring on there, okay? Then you got your 8 airflow slots, 1 by 1.4 by 4 millimeter all the way around, okay? So giving you 2 airflow slots per bank of coils. And then here's the internals, okay? Now, each one of these big slots cut out, that is where the screws and the posts go up into. So that's what I was talking about. You have to make sure that those screws are in far enough that they clear and go inside those little channels. I'm seeing if I have something to point right quick. Let's see about a piece of Kanthal, okay? See right in there, this little area right here is where your bank, okay, or where your posts essentially go up in. So you have to make sure that the screws that hold your coils are the right length so that they're screwed in far enough that they'll fit in there. Now, each one of these little holes right here that you see, those line up with those alignment dowels or nipples or whatever you want to call them, and set the Addy in its correct position so that everything is lined up good. Okay? Not much else going on inside there. Like I said, there's not a whole lot to this Addy. Let me put this back together and see. See, I put it on like, now that went the first time. Let's see, I go a little bit off. See that little gap there at the bottom? Now that means it's not aligned. Now if I adjust it just enough and I line up those dowels, see, now it goes all the way up in, okay? And it's fully seated down, okay? So let's screw this back on the mod right quick. Oh, let me show you one other thing. This Addy is definitely not a hybrid mod Addy. See that? That's your center pin, and as far as I can tell, it is not adjustable. Okay, that's as far as it goes right there. What the hell have I got on my finger? You have very few threads. See that? I think there's what? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's about 3 threads on that outer. There's your center contact, and inside there it looks like there's a Delrin insulator right in there. But this is definitely not for hybrids. See that? Your center post does not clear the connector right here. So this is only to be used on mods that have a pin, okay? That have a pin that will fit up and make contact with that center post, make that center contact, but not touch this outer and short out, okay? So now we'll screw it back on our Addy, or screw it back on our mod, sorry. And then I will pop this back on, and she's good to go, okay? She's vaping. So, with that little close-up, now we'll come back out, and we'll talk about it a little bit more and get some more vapor. Tell you what, 8 coils definitely puts out a lot of vapor. Let me show you what I was talking about by that center post. Now see, I just drip right there, and see, it distributes out to each of the little coil banks. See, each one of those kind of getting juicy and all juiced up, okay? So now I'll put this back on, line it up, sets all the way down, get a little bit more vapor right quick. Yeah, she puts out. Was a lot of vapor right there. Anyway, I really like the atomizer, okay? It's a little bit on the pricey side, as most things are from Vicious Ant. They are proud of their equipment, and they make you pay a little bit more for it. This Addy from Vape Affliction is $135. Yeah, $135. Is it worth it? You know what? I think if you're looking for something that's really unique, that you're definitely not going to see a whole lot of, and the design is very, very unique. The ability to put 8 coils on there. I mean, it's essentially built for putting 8 coils on there, which comes one problem. The problem is not so much your resistance, okay? The problem is that you are pushing 8 coils, okay? You're trying to fire 8 coils. Now this only has a 0.12 ohms of resistance. Now that's not the issue. The issue is that you're firing up those 8 coils. I was able to make this work very well using a quad coil setup with some low resistance wire, some hot wire. Actually some, I believe it was 22 gauge. Yeah, some 22 gauge hot wire. And I believe I did 8 wraps, a 3mm dowel, and it was really, really low resistance. It came in at a 0.03, yeah, a 0.03 resistance. And it was almost that, going that low on resistance, that made it usable on a mech mod. Anything else, when you do the 8 coils, I haven't yet tried to fire this on a mech mod, simply because I don't think in a parallel box situation you're going to have really the amps in order to fire up those 8 coils effectively. So it might be a weaker vape. Now using it on a veritable voltage, veritable wattage device like the Sigeli 150, see if it'll focus in there. As you can see, 150 watts, 4.4 volts. She fires very nice because you can get that current that you need in order. And see, even that was a delay. See, I pushed the button and it took some time to fire up. But she will fire, and she fires nice on a veritable wattage device because you can pump up that power. Now, even at, let's say if I go down to, let's say 85 watts, it's showing me 3.3 volts. Let's see. Yeah, see, noticeably less vapor, and that's even at 85 watts. Still a lot of vapor, still great vapor production, but it really doesn't start to shine for me until about 125 watts. Yeah, and then of course going all the way up to 150 gives you great amount of vapor. And like I said, for me it doesn't really get hot. I'm used to, as you know, if you've watched my videos, I'm used to series devices. I'm used to high powered devices, so I'm used to the heat and things. So what I'm saying is not a hot vape might be scorchingly hot for some people out there. You know, that's for each user's level. Now, of course, with something like this, you know, if you're going to be putting it on a regulated device, make sure it's a really good device that is safe to fire at that low of ohms. And of course, inside, use the right high quality, high dollar batteries. Of course, inside here are my yellow CLRD batteries, 2800 mAh, 35 amp batteries. Now, at this high wattage, your battery life's not going to be great. I think this was right at about 92 when I started, and now I'm down to 76. So it's going to drain the batteries quite fast at that high wattage. But, you know, it is what it is. I like it very much. I think that anybody out there that definitely is a fan of Vicious Ant products will definitely like it because of its uniqueness and its styling, and it's a big ass Addy. I mean, it hangs over both sides of this Sigeli, as you can see. I haven't tried running it in series or anything like that because the ohms are so low. Now, of course, series has the amperage it has the voltage and the amperage to drive 8 coils, but I think it would be a little too much. I would love to get a hold of the new, a lot of modders and box modders are getting into the pulse width modulated type of series boxes, which allow you to adjust your voltage per se. Essentially, you are simulating lower voltage because you're changing your pulse width modulation. And allowing you to tone it down or raise it up. I'd love to get a hold of one of them. Some of the ones that I've seen are lipo type setups, like I think it was Bearded Mods or something like that on Facebook. He makes a pulse width modulated dual lipo box. And it's a little bit pricey. But I'm sure I've never touched one and I've never used one, so maybe the price is totally justified, but I think he was asking like $375, and it comes with 2 lipos and a balanced charger and all that. I'd love to get a hold of one, maybe in an 18650 configuration. I've seen those out there, dual 18650 pulse width modulated boxes. But other than that, stick it on a good veritable voltage, veritable wattage mod, and pump it up with some power, and you're good to go. Let me get a little bit more vapor right quick. Yeah, she performs excellently. I definitely think that it's worth the price. I mean, it's very unique. They're doing something different. Vicious Ant has always put out quality products, in my opinion, and I haven't been able to use a whole lot of their devices because of the price point and stuff, but this one has been a pretty interesting buy, and I really like it. So, with that, I'll put links to the place that I know has them, and that is Vape Affliction, okay? And we will, let me see if they have any additional information that I haven't said. Nope. 304 grade stainless steel, peak insulator, 30 millimeter diameter by 32 millimeters high, 8 airflow holes, okay, 1.44 millimeter by 4 millimeter air holes, heat sink design. Order your choice of drip tips below. Now, I believe that it does not come with a drip tip. You will have to either step up for the one. I think that they charge like $20 or so, or $25 for the one that's made specifically for this. But they have some other drip tips that will fit to kind of get into your price range. But I know that they have them in stock, so I'll put links to their web page in the description. So, as always, thank you for joining me. I am Vaping Vigilante, and remember, vape it like you stole it. I'll see y'all later.